I'm Mark Dresner, and this is the Research Insider, delivering the insight scoop from experts and leaders in consumer research and shopper insights. The Research Insider is brought to you by the annual Shopper Insights in Action Conference, uniting top retailers and manufacturers to activate intelligence and drive bigger baskets. Joining me today is April Carlisle. She is the Senior Vice President of Strategy for Global Shopper Marketing at Leo Burnett, ARC Worldwide. April, welcome to the Research Insider.
Thank you.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about your current role and responsibilities and what you do?
So I have a little bit of an untraditional background coming into the insight space. So I actually started my career on the client side with the biggest CPG company in the world, Procter & Gamble, and spent almost 2 decades working with them from a sales and marketing standpoint. Then had the opportunity to move to the agency side, and it's been an amazing adventure, truly understanding the client and then what the client needs and actually what the client needs help with, and then being able to provide that on the agency side. Mm-hmm. So my day-to-day responsibilities are helping develop strategies, leveraging insights into action for key clients such as McDonald's and Coca-Cola, Procter & Gamble, et cetera.
Essentially, they're bringing you quite a bit of data, and it's your job to make sense of it, to get that insight out of it. Am I correct there?
Absolutely. In fact, what we say is our clients have analysis paralysis. So they have pounds and pounds of data about how consumers use their products in their homes or use their services, if it's a financial or insurance, et cetera. So for example, with P&G as a client, they can tell you everything about how a consumer washes her clothes and what she's looking for. What we focus on is there's what they call the first moment of truth before she actually uses the products, and that's when she chooses the products. Mm-hmm. So when does she decide which product she's going to use? And so our insights dig into how consumers are shopping for their products.
Is there a process or a formula? How do you go about it?
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can go at it, but it's really getting to what we say is the unarticulated reasons for why consumers choose what they choose. Mm-hmm. So if you actually have a consumer go shopping and then you bring her back into a traditional research facility and ask her questions about why did she purchase what she did, she'll come up with some great answers. But oftentimes there's a lot of things that are unarticulated, or she is unconsciously making choices. Mm-hmm. So it's really key to get her what we call in context. So when she's in the middle of shopping. So if it's doing shop-alongs, when she's in the store actually choosing the categories and actually blinding the categories so she doesn't know which categories that we're most interested in her learning about. And now with the advent of online research, actually being able to follow all the cookies of all the places that she's going to get information before she even closes the sale.
So a lot of consumer researchers and a lot of shopper researchers at brand manufacturers and certainly at retailers now as well are also trying to get at those insights that you're coming up with. What advice or tips or thoughts do you have for them about going about doing that? Because there is a data dump issue still taking place out there.
Yeah. The first thing I would say is be very clear on what the end objective is, because unfortunately there's a lot of research that is done. Let's understand the millennial shopper, or and they're so broad that it's hard for people to actually cull through. So be very specific. We're trying to understand the millennial shopper who is not the purchaser of the product but the consumer of the product, and is utilizing new categories to solve. Getting to that level of detail is when you're actually going to be able to then design a research project that will enable. I think oftentimes companies go in with these big budgets and commission these huge studies, and then there's so much data that people don't even know where to start with it, and then ultimately when they have a business objective they can't figure out their way back to find it. So more is not always better.
Great advice, especially in an era of big data when we seem to be flooded with it. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks for the advice and the tips, and thanks for joining us today.
You're welcome.
And that concludes this episode of the Research Insider. I'm Mark Dresner, and you've just heard the Insight Scoop.